In this second video of David Hockney's Yorkshire landscape, I want to just go through by actually using and talking about one of his paintings. So the main reason I'm doing this is because I want you to understand about how he goes about his paintings. So the palette themselves are basically using quite bright, vivid colours. But at the same time, his technique is to make his paintings quite look simple, even though they possibly are not simple. So whether he's painting on canvas or drawing on the iPad, the saturation of colour is blocked in first. So he'll block those areas in before he starts putting any detail or texture onto his work. The actual details and the second layer is what I want to talk to you about. So this has got one layer on, and now I want to start to add a little bit more interest and texture to the painting. So I'm going to show you first off by looking at this sort of background distant area, and I'm going to add just some slightly paler colours to knock back the sky to make it look less in the foreground. So by just sort of working in over the top of what I've already painted, I'm putting in a much lighter, paler blue, just to sort of emphasize this feeling of light. So a lot of his work is large scale. So I've asked in this series, I've asked you to work in a way which perhaps is slightly larger than you would normally work on. Now this size is A4 because I'm doing it on the video, but I want you to push yourselves to work a bit larger. So remember that it's still a landscape with a foreground, a middle ground and a background. And I want you to create a sense of space through your tone of colour. So for instance here, where I put this sort of beige colour in, I'm going to add another layer and let it dry before I put over the top some more texture. So he's got very strong contrasts in colour and in value, and basically in the application of paint. So if you look sort of carefully, you'll notice that the placement of colours next to each other are carefully thought out and emphasise nice contrasts in shade, tint and tone. So I want you to play on that in your paintings. He actually started working on these in watercolour, so he could be really fluid and quick with his painting, and that's something I'd like you to think about as well, in how you can perhaps add your second layer in quite a quick, fluid way, so that you are not timid or worrying about making mistakes, because we're working in acrylic and we can paint over and readjust really quite easily and simply. So not only are you thinking about colour, you're also going to start to think about texture in your work, specifically in your second layer. So the texture he is creating through using some of these lovely lines. So I want you to really sort of push the lines of the roads or the hills or the any shapes and patterns that you see in the landscape. I want you to emphasise them. So for instance, he uses the ploughed lines of the fields in quite bright, vivid pinks in this painting. He also works actually outside, so he's constantly looking and immersed in his landscape and thinking about the colour and the way the colours are affected by light. So it's something that you could, if you've not painted outside ever before, it's something that's worth having a go, because you will experience a slightly different feel to your painting because you're more submerged in the landscape. So I'm just emphasising these lines now with a lighter, paler pink than I put on originally, and I'm also going to widen the lines as they get closer. He had a solo exhibition of the work called A Bigger Picture. I think there were about 150 works in the exhibition. So he's prolific. Basically, he's painting all the time. So his whole sort of manner of working is one that he's immersed in his work. And if you've seen his earlier works, and his use of vibrant colour is something that he has used constantly throughout his career. So it's something, if you look at his early paintings, the colours are extremely vivid. So think about how the light is affecting your painting. Think about how your brush marks are emphasising the play of light on the landscape. And the landscape that you choose to paint does not have to be of Yorkshire. It might be a landscape near to your home, something that sort of means something to you. So think that through before you come to the class, and make sure that you, if you can, come in with an A3 size canvas, and that way I feel you'll be more experimental with your brush strokes, and you'll be able to explore the use of acrylic paint in a more freer, vibrant way. I'm just going to carry on for a little bit longer, and then we'll finish, and I will see you for our lesson. And I've put a couple of videos about David Hockney as well on the WhatsApp, which are really worth watching. Also, Denise shared a timeline of his life, which again is really interesting, just to show the sort of how much work he has produced over his career. So I'm going to finish there, and I'm going to carry on with this myself, and I will see you at the lesson. Okay, take care everyone. Bye bye.